And Daniela is a former contemporary dancer and a media artist exhibiting internationally. She is also a licensed radio operator and a radio telescope operator. Her artistic practice is informed by space in its widest meaning. Since 2009, she has been implementing radio technologies and philosophies in her art. She is currently artist in residence at SETI Institute and a recipient of the Baruch Bloomberg Fellowship in Astrobiology at the Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia. So she is collaborating with some prominent research institutes, such as Italian Research Institute for Radio Astronomy and others. For her projects, she has been using the state-of-art radio telescopes, such as the Square Kilometre Array in the UK and others antennas. Daniela, you have the microphone. Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction. So I just would like to mention that my connection this morning is quite unstable, and I hope it will survive during the time of my presentation, at least. Okay, so thanks for the introduction. I think it already mentioned a lot of the things I wanted to also say in my talk. I would like to introduce the project I've been working on for the past 3 years. And sorry, just a bit, okay. Sorry about that. I've got slideshow, that's it. So this project is called the Mare Incognito, and it is an international collaboration with neuroscientists and the radio astronomers. I've been working at the crossover of neuroscience and the radio astronomy for the past 13 years. And so this project is really the continuation of my ongoing artistic research and practice. So as you earlier mentioned, I've been collaborating with large radio telescopes, including the Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia, where I will be going back actually on Monday for 2 months to develop my next project, and also with some large radio telescopes in Italy, including the Sardinia Radio Telescope and the Medicina Radio Observatory. I've been using also some amateur radio antennas, like the Bochum Radio Observatory in Germany and the Dwingelo Radio Telescope in the Netherlands. So Mare Incognito is the continuation of a project called Cogito in Space, which I developed between 2013 and 2018. And this project was also an international collaboration. And our objective was to transmit into space the brain activity of participants watching a film in virtual reality showing footage of the Earth seen from space. So this project was one of the earliest VR representation of what is called the overview effect, which is now a mainstream concept, and was conceptualized by space philosopher Frank White. The project was, I call it an experiential narrative, because it was really a sort of designed as a spatial day out in the wilderness, so people could come to the Dwingelo Radio Telescope, go for a walk in the surrounding national park, and after this guided performative walk, they would enter the cabin and they would be able to send their brainwaves into space while watching this film in virtual reality. So the background, the conceptual background of this practice combining neuroscience and radio astronomy has been influenced by several fields of research. I mentioned the overview effect earlier, but especially also science fiction literature like Stanisław Lem's Solaris, where one of the scientists in the spacecraft that orbits the sentient planet transmits the X-ray of his brain activity in the attempt to communicate with this enigmatic intelligence. And of course, also the eponymous film by Andrei Tarkovsky somehow introducing this concept. Mare Incognito is a large collaboration of researchers from different European institutes. It is a really diverse group in terms of skills, knowledge, cultural background, and it includes 3 neuroscientists, a cosmologist, a radio astronomer, 2 filmmakers, and an intellectual historian. And these are just the core members of the team. There are also a lot of other technicians and collaborators which are not mentioned here. So the institutions collaborating in the project are the University of Cambridge, Donder Center for Cognitive Neuroimaging, Max Planck Institute for Astrophysics, the Square Kilometre Array and the Cavendish Astrophysics at the University of Cambridge, Muller, the Radio Astronomy Observatory, University of Oxford, and the Jung Academia. So the project consists in transmitting into space the brain activity of the moment of falling asleep and of deep sleep. For me, these were really, these transitional states of consciousness are very interesting moments of our daily life, because it is the moment when we lose our biographical selves. So it is the moment when we experience what it is perhaps the closest moment to dying, and deep sleep is also compared physiologically to death. So I wanted to kind of create this poetic resonance between this void, inner void, as we often consider deep sleep, with the inner void of outer space. So I wanted to see how these 2 forms of emptiness could resonate with each other. And the project essentially required 2 years of development, and the outcomes was a live performance that was recorded in film by filmmaker Miriam Sommers. And for the performance, we used one of the clusters of the Square Kilometre Array, which is the newest generation radio telescopes, which is currently being built in several continents around the world, including South Africa, Australia, and the UK. So we had the opportunity to use these antennas, which are essentially striking looking tree-shaped metallic antennas. And one of the challenges of the project was to connect the lab-grade electroencephalogram device, which we borrowed from the company G-Tech, with one of these Square Kilometre Arrays antenna. So this required quite a long of technical testing and preparation. And the performance was filmed in the outdoor, because it really felt more also close to the concept of the project, which was creating this very intimate connection between inner space and the space of the cosmos. So these are some moments of the preparation. And I will show, at the end of the talk, I will show a very brief trailer, 3-minute trailer, where you can see some of the footage of the film. So the result of the project is also a short documentary about the work in progress, which is publicly available on my Vimeo channel. These are, again, some of the visualization of the brain activity transmission into space in real time while I was falling asleep. And here is the stage of the performance as we gradually zoom out at night. So the film was one of the cultural references of the film was La Jetée, which is a film essay by Chris Marker. And what I found really interesting about this film was the use of scientific tools as a sort of underground, almost illegal devices in function of a poetic and humanistic idea. So I wanted to convey that kind of quality. So there are several references in the film to La Jetée. And in terms of conceptual background, the research that supported this project has been very rich, and I wrote extensively about the project in an upcoming chapter to be published by Routledge in 2023. Some of the references are Plato's Republic, The Myth of Air, which is the first written account of an out-of-the-body experience. So Plato describes the possibility of an afterlife. So for the first time in Western culture, we see this concept being mentioned. But especially, I think my guiding reference was the compared literature between Western neuroscience and Eastern philosophy, and especially the work of neuroscientist Francisco Varela, who has been working on this topic for all his career. And the topic of deep sleep and death is being explored both by Western neuroscientists and Eastern philosophers throughout a long period of time, especially the concept of associating deep sleep, the cosmos, and death has been really resonating across many cultures throughout the centuries. So it's really a very, very, it's a concept that really seems to be very close to our cultural development. Also, the Tibetan Book of the Dead was quite an interesting reference because, especially in the art film, I wanted to convey the another moment of a transitional state of consciousness, which is the waking stage. So the waking stage is as interesting as the moment of falling asleep, because again, it is a moment when the biographical self starts re-emerging from deep sleep, which is this moment when we lose completely awareness of the surrounding and ourselves. And neuroscientists are still debating whether deep sleep is actually an experience, or if we simply know that we were in deep sleep simply as a form of inferred knowledge. So it is a really, for me, a very interesting question whether there is an experience of deep sleep or not. So the moment of waking up is also poetically very suggestive to me, because it is a moment when we reconnect to our biographical self, and it is a moment where somehow the knowledge of ourselves is questioned. And also provocatively, I wanted to ask this question: what if I wake up as a different person the following day, or what if I don't wake up after a deep sleep? So I wanted to somehow suggest this poetic questioning as part of the film. The location where we filmed the work was, in my opinion, really suggestive as well. So the square kilometre array is part of the Muller, the Radio Astronomy Observatory in Cambridge. And this observatory features both state-of-the-art antennas and also radio telescopes that are completely abandoned, like this one, for example, which is full of rust, and yet it is really a very interesting monument. And one could really sense the fictional atmosphere of these spaces, where dust is really settled everywhere on the glasses, on every single surface of the cabin. And there is this pervasive feeling of doom or apocalypse. It is as if suddenly in the late 80s, scientists, technicians left the spaces very suddenly, dropped all their objects anywhere they could, and ran away and never came back. So the spaces are really left exactly as the last day when they were used. And this is just one of the several locations which is open to the public, and one of the old control rooms. So the vintage instruments live together with the state-of-the-art equipment. The project was also has been awarded was the winner of the Art of Neuroscience Prize, which is an international prize organized by the Academy of Sciences in the Netherlands. And here are the websites for the project, in case you would like to see all the collaborators. It's a very large collaboration, and there we really credit all the fantastic people who worked in this challenging performance. So I would like to now show a brief trailer, if I still have 3 minutes. And I think I will have to, okay, just to, sorry about this, just, okay.
Getting sleepy? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
Okay, that's the end of my talk. Thank you.
Thank you for your interesting presentation. Do we have any questions in the audience to Daniela? Yeah, Ellen.
Yeah. What was going on in that video?
Yeah, it's a very short trailer. Yes, we were starting the performance, so we were preparing for sending into space my brainwaves as I was falling asleep and during the deep sleep stage. So it was very cold. It was at the end of March 2022. And it was really difficult to fall asleep, but eventually I did manage. And it was for me quite, I would say, very spiritual experience. It really felt like I could transcend myself into the cosmos. Is really in a very, maybe a kind of Buddhist way, without trying to be Buddhist at all. But I kind of really experienced this sense of transcending, you know, the limitation of oneself or one biographical self.
What did it sound like? What did it sound like?
Oh, yeah, the sound you hear in the film is the sound recording of the brain activity from Cogito in space, but we didn't really pay too much attention to the sound. So it was just a software which was randomly converting the brain activity into sounds. We were not really interested in that aspect for this particular performance. And also in the film, in the background, you can hear the sound of the background of the universe, because I wanted to have this suggestive sort of dialogue between the cosmos and the people performing.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you.
And the next project in our panel is a group project called Empathy Ecologies, New Connections Between Humans and Plants in a Techno-Ecological Sensorium. And it is, the authors are Karen Lancel, Hermène Maat, Franz Maria Brazier. They are a media, art and science research duo, Karen Lancel and Hermène Maat, which have been presented their work internationally at Venice Biennale, at ZKM, and Hague Basel, and other important centers of media art. Their pioneering performance research in the field of neurobiotechnological entanglement and AI is supported by University of Technology Delft, Participatory Systems Lab, and University Groningen, and other funds. And Lancel and Maat teach Masters of Media Arts and lecture internationally. And they have co-published in many publishers. Please, you have your stage.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Ah, good. Well, thank you for inviting us. And Herman is here too. Herman, please say hello.
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 And so, yes, this is a group presentation. Herman is here. Francis is in the TU Delft. It's a great conference so far. Thank you for all organizing this. Wonderful. Okay, I will present our work. En dan even kijken.
Here.
Deze. I hope everything goes. Yeah, I'm here. Can you see the picture?
Yes, we see.
We should see. Well, then if we go so far, so good. Okay, I'll start describing. So I will describe empathy ecologies, humans and plants connections in techno-ecological sensoriums. Empathy ecologies is part of an ongoing art science research into participatory complex systems for sharing intimate, multi-species bodily connections between human beings, living organisms, environments, machine and data together as post-Anthropocene co-actors. In performances and installations, which we call artistic social labs, participants are invited for connecting in hybrid, merging reality neural networks that can be perceived through multi-sensorial interaction, including intimate experience of transcultural practices of reciprocal touching and feeling touched. And especially these practices of reciprocal touching and feeling touched is part of my PhD research at the Technical University of Delft about the work that I do together with Hermène Maat as an artist duo, and which we will finalize beginning of next year, I hope. Okay, so the work builds on, this long research started with EEG kids in 2014 at Tsinghua University, Beijing, in collaboration with Waag Society, Amsterdam and Balter Laboratories. And this is about 8 years ago, and you see us here kissing with an EEG headset. And our kissing activity, the brain activity, is real time shown at the background. And what is measured? Well, this EEG interface measures motor intention, muscle and synchronization movements, cognitive realization and concentration. And from this first experiment, we started a long series of potentials in sharing a kiss through brain-to-brain communication with an audience around and creating a co-creative kiss. And here you see in the Frascati Theaters, Amsterdam 2016, 2 people from the audience kissing, wearing the same headsets, while their brain activity is streaming around them, projected as a floor projection. So this is a still from a video. The data, blue and green on the ground, are actually dancing together from their brain activity. And this is used as a partiture for a soundscape based on an algorithm. So the audience, the kissers, share sound and visuals of brain activity of kissing. Can I kiss you online? Well, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio wrote that while being in interaction with the world around, we perceive ourselves in a perpetually recreated neurobiological state. And in this interaction, our minds and our brains are not disembodied, but in our bodies, part of our bodies. So this is a crucial insight. So the brain we feel is not only in our heads, but actually are part of our body activity. As artists, we explore meaningful interaction through perception of touching and kissing brains in a distributed digital flow of today's merging physical and virtual AI algorithm realities. In 2018, we created kissing data for a future collective multi-brain to brain kissing, which was in great collaboration with RIXC in Riga and Eagle Science Amsterdam, collaborating together in the AMAP European Media Art Platform. Well, kissing data is a multi-brain computer interface for kissing and seeing to be kissed, for both kissers and spectators, or as we call them, co-kissers. So we have kissers and co-kissers wearing EG headsets. Together, they co-create a shared datascape of sound and data visualization through sharing kissing and mirror neuron brain activity. The concept of mirror touch that we use is a scientific approach to the idea of mirror activity, brain activity and mirror neurons. When seeing someone else to be touched, actually this activity of touching resonates in our brain. We imitate it, feel it, and then can act upon this. So what the people around it, the spectators, you could call them, we call them co-kissers, they watch the kissing activity and their brains practice a form of mirror touch. So the kiss that they see can actually resonate in their brains. This activity is then also measured and also part of the data visualization and sonification. So both kissers and seeing to be kissed is co-creating a sound and data visualization. So here it said Ars Electronica. In the middle, you see 2 people from the audience kissing, and you see at the left side, people also wearing headsets, and their brain's activity of seeing to be kissed is also part of the data visualization and sonification. And we took this work worldwide, which was a great opportunity because we have different ways of kissing and touching in public all over the world. All soundscapes that are emerging from kissing brain are stored in a database. So we share the body ownership of kissing among all others when we kiss. We invite people to share an intimate data symphony, transcultural kissing and embracing. For example, here in Korea, it doesn't, this situation here is too short. Our lecture or our meeting here is too short to explain, but it is so interesting to meet people touching and kissing, which is so different in Korea when they touch in public than when, for example, in Amsterdam or in Banff, America. Moscow is so different every time again, and we talk about this extensively with the participants. So in 2019, the work was awarded. Very nice. We were very happy with that. And here you see some of our partners, which are all from art, science, and companies that also support and sponsor us. Now, the empathy ecologies is a next step in this, and we first presented it 4 days before the lockdown in Amsterdam, the pandemic lockdown. So it was full of touching and kissing, and then 4 days after that, like, which is even in feedback, when we look back into it, it makes it even more touching for us. The work exists of sculpture and architecture of it's a mini forest of orchids, aerial rootlands, specifically aerial rootlands, not that we take it in pots and drag it along, but it hangs from the ceiling, is movable, and an epiphyte doesn't eat from other plants, but embraces other plants as to survive. And I'll show you a small video, which is about
Okay.
Die is wel 1 uur tot vandaag je had.
Ja, die was even aan het So shortly about the reactions of the audience on this work, we host dialogues about the experience of the with the participants, and examples of their reactions are: once I got involved, a totally new feeling emerged. I cannot describe it, and we feel this is a very important kind of reactions, because if there are no words, we can start inventing new words for new feelings. Many actors describe the plant architecture as a kind of protecting or encapsulating environment, organic and alive. And actors do not only touch each other, but also touch plants. So expressions on how this was experienced include: I could feel her body and the plant. It was a hybrid experience of snakes, of roots, of arms, fingers. I could no longer distinguish the end or the beginning. And I could feel symbiosis between her, me, and plants. I could feel the plants sponge in it all somehow. And I did not touch the plants, but I could feel their presence and the sound. Now, what is the meaning of data in all these works? We feel that while in science, data represent things, while in art, data point at themselves for reflection. And it is exactly this reflection that we try to host with, as an example, the reactions of these participants. So in short, the empathy ecologies is a Baroque mini forest of epiphyte orchids architecture, of aerial root plants. And we use photosynthesis and CO2 sensor technologies and combine these with brain activity of humans touching, kissing, embracing, and caressing for a real-time soundscape by DJ. We explore in this work, can we imagine empathic connections between human, plants, and technology in a shared neurofeedback loop? Plants memorize and respond to human bodies and their caring or aggressive behavior, while sound and touch affect their immune systems and growth. Based on these new findings, this artwork proposes speculative connections between biometric feedback of plant sensitivity and human empathic behavior of kissing and caressing, co-creating a musical soundscape. And together, human and plants explore a new perspective on planetary, yet unpredictable ecologies of empathy. Thank you.
Presentation of your wonderful project. And do we have any questions in the audience? And I have a question. What is, to your opinion, the role of emotions in ecosystems?
In ecosystems at large?
Yeah.
That's a really big question.
It is, yeah, but...
So you mean, let's first look at the word. What do you mean by emotion?
With your work, you are acknowledging this human emotion, which is often in cultural settings not acknowledged enough, or even sometimes it's like disturbing. And you know, in this interaction with nature, how do you see the role of human emotion? What kind of benefits maybe it can give?
Yeah, maybe the concept of empathy, which we explore in our PhD, is very important in this interaction of emotional interaction. And for empathy, in empathic interaction, the mirror neuron activity is important. We actually, you could say, not only imitate, but we in fact extend our own body to the body of someone else. Many studies describe it as extending the body scheme to someone else. We kind of, you could also say, embrace it. Well, this is all about literature, of course, and the meaning of words and how you can play with this. And but by extending your own body to someone or something, or some organic or artificial, somewhat else, we can actually feel for a moment or live with the expression or the movement of others, incorporate it literally in our own brain activity, and from there emotionally bring it to a more cognitive level, and then react on it. Right. So, but before there's any emotion in any cognitive reflection, there is the emotion sharing with the other. Even and then there's of course a question: is this emotion neutral? Which seems not the case. But where exactly is the difference between what you cannot manipulate yourself or reflect upon yourself? What is not conscious yet? Is this neutral or not, or is it already framed by memory and culture?
And how we stage the performance, of course.
And in our case, how we stage the performance.
Yeah.
So we feel this is a very complex field, and often emotion is explored in theater, because then emotion is conscious and unconscious, and they play actors and playwrights play with this kind of double layered interaction with the world. Whereas where we come from the performance art side, we are interested in the awareness of the emotional bonding and interacting. And I would love to bring this work, empathy ecologies, to different sorts of cultural environments and different plants. And maybe in the next step, also to see if we can actually extend our sense of embodiment to objects like computers, or to icebergs that are melting. Now, Gonzalez has wrote a lot about empathy with things, especially in art. So when you look at a painting of someone crying, you cry with this person in the painting. You feel sad with this, like, so this mirroring effect. I think we can explore to enhance as artists a sense of empathy in the world.
Thank you.
It's a large mission though.
There's
Yeah.
another question in the audience.
Yeah, I was wondering how much you're referring in your work to the scientific research which has been done in the United States in the 70s about aggression against plants, communication about plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much?
Oh, I didn't. Sorry, can you repeat this question? I hear.
I'm wondering how much you're referring to the scientific research which has been done in the 70s already about communication of plants, about if you're aggressing them, and to repeat.
Yeah, I think there has been done so much research, and right now there's so much work, artwork, scientific work on communication among plants, that we feel that there's so much expertise on this that we read it, but we don't emphasize this. I feel we shift.
I was wondering about the research from the 70s.
Well, what research are you referring to? We know that there is research that plants respond negative to aggression and fights within a marriage.
I think you also refer to the communication among plants and the nets and the webs.
Yeah.
Of roots and am I right? Or
No,
maybe
no.
specify.
But it's okay. It's fine.
Can I ask a question also? Is there
Yeah.
time for one more question? I am very pleased to know about your work. I was wondering, as also an artist who work with neuroscientists, I have a question about your work KISS, and I was wondering, how did you manage to remove the noise that inevitably you will get in the signal as you're moving all your facial muscle and your body in the conversion of this brain signal into sound? I wonder how clean was the resulting signal, how much was noise part of the actual data that the audience could see in the installation?
Yeah, this is a question about the technology. Well, we worked a lot with the Philips lab in Eindhoven on purification of the data and see where it comes from the brain and what is happening in the brain, and where it's not like really actually also the moving of your jaws when you kiss and laugh and talk and try and move. And for this project, we use the combination of these data. So we are aware of there's a lot of interest in synchronicity when people communicate, and can we measure actually synchronicity? Can we measure synchronous data? And this is also subject to research into empathy. So we talk with Philips Lab about patterns of synchronicity in the data, and actually for us it's really important to shift the awareness to what do we need to create an empathic environment. Is not the leaning on correct measurements or the leaning on clear synchronicity specified in your brain connection, or the leaning on shaping technology only. It is we look for a way where these technologies can embrace the human capacity and need for ambiguity, creativity.
Yeah.
And onvoorspelbaarheid, what is it? Unpredictability. So I can see
you can say we developed with Stein and Philips together an algorithm that reads the EEG data, but of course you cannot really distinguish between a kiss and not a kiss. So there we made markers.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Karen and Aman. We have to move on. Next presenter is Jānis Garančs. I don't see Jānis. Are you present? Jānis, are you online? Jānis Garančs? Not anymore. Then we invite Harald Stravnieks as the next presenter. Harald is Liepāja University doctoral student in Media, Art and Creative Technologies.
Oh, hij is hier. Kijk die jongen.
Ja. We moeten het geluid weer uitzetten.
Oh, share the screen. Do I have to share the screen or? Yes. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so my work is, as I'm studying PhD, the work is about the critical interrogation of the hyperverse extended reality game environment for artistic research on digital presence. So this is me, or my digital version of myself. One is done with the Xbox Kinect sensor, another one is with photogrammetry. And yeah, in this presentation, I will just compare. This is some of the experiments I did in MPLabs, which is a point cloud scanner, which is like very fancy thing of like scanning in the environment and architecture. And yeah, inspiration for my for my doctoral work came from kids and working with them. And I really want to see make this digital work inspired by them and how they see the world as an exciting new place and filled with fun activities and adventures. This is work I did in working with SketchUp program, which was, I will later show also how I work with the architecture, but this is done with photogrammetry and implementing it in the new SketchUp. And yeah, here you can see also I'm working with this character. It will become an NFT and maybe an emoji. And here you can see like 3D print experiments. I have one right here as well. It's like a little fellow. And yeah, but more on my PhD work, I really want to create this metaverse vision, which would be a city, digital city. I want to implement such technologies as mixed reality. And, working with art collective I created 2 years ago to work with them and make it happen, to work with other artists. Yeah, I want to mix many different technologies as it would be a physical model, it would be a drone scans, photogrammetry, to create this kind of extended reality work, such as, yeah, as well as LiDAR scanner and 360 camera. And here you can just see a few examples from my master's work where I compared different technologies. This is like Xbox 360 scanner, like 10-year-old technology. This was Displayland on Android phones. It's no longer available. This was I guess the best result that came out. It was from all the new iPhones. Probably you already know the LiDAR scanner. This work was also an ArtAst application. You can check it out if you want. And this was really a kind of extended reality, mixed reality experience because all the work was done and inspired by my room. And here you can see it's made with Google Tilt Brush, and I basically went and redraw all the objects in the room. One eye was in the real world, another eye was in the virtual world, and it was very glitchy and headache, cautious experience, but I kind of enjoyed the result. And yeah, here's just some ideas I want to work with yeah. And for the metaverse vision, I want to build it in Unreal Engine 5 because of its power and how much I could do inside of it. Maybe you have seen this MetaHuman where you can build hyper-realistic characters. And yeah, working with Alvis Missions, and he showed me this, and we tried it with working with motion capture. I really want to do this because all the available motion captures are not what I'm looking for, and I would like to do it more as performance. And this is, I guess, kind of example of metaverse I would like to inspired by. This is the Centerland, and there's many others, but this was one of the examples, and to make like this grid-like city and make it like creative and work with artists and architects and create this mixed reality experience and maybe an installation as well. Here you can just see this was object you could buy, but I wanted to build this digital Riga. As I talked with my teachers, they said it was, what's the point, or what's your interest, or what's the creative side of things? But I kind of wanted to see if it's possible for technical side of things, and I found a lot of these Sketchfab warehouse objects of Riga, and I kind of just mixed them all in and put them all into SketchUp. And I made this digital Riga model, which is, it was super fun, and I was kind of ended up laughing out loud that it worked, because I was alone in the school, and just the thing that, I was surprised that it even worked. And later I put it in virtual reality, but this is kind of pointless, I could say, because there's so many new technologies coming out with Google and Facebook that in 2 years' time, this would be just like a fun experiment, not something I could work with. And yeah, here you can just see a few other projects I'm working on, but I like to test it out on different subjects as my friends, and also working with kids. Of course, there's the talk of ethics, but I didn't show them nothing too crazy, just this scan of my room, and they could go in. And yeah, this month we opened our own art gallery with Spāra Vītola, and it's called Sensorium. You might have heard this word so many times today already, but yeah, you can go actually and see the exhibition for yourself today. There's actually quite.
How long is it open?
Next week, and then we will have next ones and next ones. We kind of want to make the spaces for exploration for young artists, and kind of let them be free and enjoy and create and work together. And yeah, thank you for attention. Yeah, if there's any questions.
Are there any questions? Thank you, Harald. Are there any questions from the audience? I wanted to ask you, how does your perception of reality is affected by the many discontinued kind of technologies you are kind of recreating your environment during these years?
Yeah, I don't know, it felt like in my master's work, there was such a short period of time where I could actually make it happen. And since I didn't have no budget or something like that, there's so many different technologies that were so useful, like Google, like it's Google Drive, but it was Google Poly, where you could just upload any object of yours, 3D object, just upload it there, put your glasses on, VR glasses, press one button, and it comes into the virtual reality, and it felt a bit like God-like, but it's no longer continued. I have some videos of it, how I work with that, but yeah, the technology changes every day. You just have to catch up with it. And
you no longer feel like God anymore. Yeah?
No, not really. And the virtual reality is kind of very fun thing to explore, but it's also a bit scary. And maybe after all this, I would just like to go into nature and enjoy real life, I guess. But yeah, it's fun to work with it. It's nice to see that it actually works, and without like huge prior knowledge, I kind of made it happen just by Google searching and talking together.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
We have completed our panel on techno-ecological. Sorry? All right, and information.
Hello, I'm here. Is it my turn now?
Yeah, it is your turn. Sorry.
It's my turn. Sorry.
PDF file apparently.
Okay, I've been a little bit confused here, and so sad that I can't be present. So just saying hi to everybody from here, Helsinki. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I hope my voice is not too rusty. Very nice to hear the presentations, and also happy to talk myself. Let's see if I can share my screen. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All good. So I'm Hanna Haslahti. I was visiting a wonderful conference of RIXC, I think, a few years ago. Many greetings to Rasa and Raitis, and so happy that this thing is still going on, notwithstanding the situation we are in. I'm based in Helsinki. I work with image and interaction to create new relationships between the audience and moving image. And today I'm kind of talking about an idea or proposal, which is called FaceShip, which is a kind of a platform for digital doubles in storytelling. I have been researching narrative possibilities of digital doubles in various participatory formations. In recent years, I have been developing a concept for participatory face capturing platform, which combines performance, documentary, and installation. I consider human face as unique and radical manifestation of selfhood, igniting multiple roles and relationships that move beyond the binary worldview and single individualism. Computer vision technologies that track and recognize have created unequal social systems, eliciting fear and segregation. Human face can nowadays be weaponized by code, and the individual shape and measures of your face can be used as data against you in many ways. Those in power have in their hands another insidious technology to discipline and bully their subjects. In a society of spectacle and surveillance, celebrity is a mask that eats the face, says the writer John Updike. Computer vision automates powerfully the human desire to be seen. Like its ancestor technologies, a mirror, a mask, a shadow, or a reflecting surface of water, it is an integral ingredient of the contemporary technologies of the self, allowing people to play out the complex relationship of me to myself. To possess and be possessed, to control and be controlled, we take different roles to learn more about ourselves. My face is also a node in a unique chronological trajectory. My face headlines an ancient genealogy, all the people and beings that find their contemporary shape in me. My face is a gift from them. Can we use digital face technologies to transcend the fear of surveillance and the seduction of the celebrity cult? Can play and performance liberate rigid computational identities? FaceShip is a proposal for a community to create artistic applications together with people and computer vision, experiences which are based on exploration of self and community. FaceShip researches what roles art and design can take in the current social surveillance age to address urgent questions of society, politics, and identity. Captured, my very first FaceShip artwork was completed in 2021. It is an immersive installation which started out from an idea to create a theater format with computer vision, where people could fluently be spectators and actors in the same time. I love theater and live performances, but in a rather funny way. My main interest there is the spatial division, the tension that splits people into the audience and into the actors. This same division and hierarchy is acted out in a society in various ways, in military, in police force, educational and healthcare institution. It is very present almost in all computer vision applications. In Captured, I try to create a more fluent performative space by enabling people to step into virtual world as a digital double, making them actors and spectators in the same time. The double avatars act together in a cyclical narrative where peaceful wandering and togetherness is interrupted by public social humiliation, dividing doubles against each other. It is difficult to define the boundaries between me and my community. In our everyday life, we like to think that we are responsible individuals in charge of our actions, but sometimes there are real life situations when individuals are overpowered and collective instincts take charge. Captured takes the double community through those two aspects of the crowd, the joy and the threat of being immersed in a group. It imagines how mob rule takes over and how it could be resolved. Spectators' agency to control their double community is lost, and they operate under the spell of their new digital community. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show the video because I feel that the connection is bad, but if you go to my website, you can see documentation of Captured, and hopefully I can soon also post something about FaceShip. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hannah. And do we have any questions? I would want to ask a question. If you have been researching, the spaceship and identity during this research, how has your relationships with your face also changed? And do you pay more attention?
No, less. Actually, much less. I sort of like, it has kind of become irrelevant in a sense because actually I feel that it has become some kind of tool for me to be integrated in these communities, and I feel that somehow I've become to see the face not as a sort of something very individual and unique, but more as a sort of variations with different themes and topics, and so it's kind of I guess I've sort of unsensitized myself from this kind of relationship to my face with this project, I suppose.
Thank you, and we will watch the project online. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.